Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Chaos Child, and we are just continuing the true ending, which is kind of Serica's story. So, anyway. I forget where we were because it's been a couple days since I played. Well, I know that Serica just went in and talked to us. I guess we must be, well, I mean, because we're in Serica's perspective right now. We must be talking to Kunasato, so. I gotta get her voice back.
After that, she explained to me the rest of the plan. She was still pissed off the whole time. Finding out about Kurusu and the others, all the Chaos Child Syndrome patients actually involved far more danger than I had thought. But I wanted my memories of my past back no matter what. And that was enough to keep me from getting scared and backing out.
Probably should back out, though, girl. I don't know if you want your memories back. I want your memories back, because... just vindictive, I guess. I don't know.
I listened to Kunasato talk late into the evening and just barely managed to catch the last train home. The second I fell into bed, I felt an exhaustion coming on that I couldn't fight. And I fell asleep without even changing clothes. So much had happened today. I was sure I would never forget it. What about the old me, though? Did she ever have any amazing experiences like this? Or was her life boring and peaceful?
Certainly wasn't peaceful. And I doubt it was boring, but...
There was a white light in front of me. It was so bright and so hot that I thought I might burn myself. The light was shining down on me. It was the same light as before. It was probably the headlights of the car that struck me. This was part of my memories from the accident. It was too bright for me to see the car. There was just the light shining on me. It felt like I'd yelled something important, maybe. And I'd been crying, but I couldn't remember. It was so frustrating to have fragments of memories, but not the whole. The headlights in my dreams eventually grew to blot out everything else. And then I woke up. I put my hand on my cheek. It was wet. I'd been crying. I rubbed my red eyes as hard as I could and stood up. Maybe I could say goodbye to these dreams today. I looked at the clock and it had only been 3 hours since I'd gone to sleep. I stayed awake until dawn thinking and doing research. Maybe this suits my personality. I put together everything I'd researched and used it to think. And when I thought, I found out where I had questions and researched them some more. For some strange reason, when I was working, I didn't feel sleepy. I honestly thought about getting a job at Momose's company someday. Or maybe the old me just loved finding things out. Nobody's ever said anything like that, though. Today was Sunday. A normal girl might be getting ready to go shopping with her friends. But I was different. Just like Kunasato had told me 2 days ago, I was about to... Okay, let's go. It was a little early still, but I quickly got ready and left. Chaos Child Syndrome is a treatable illness. It's not dangerous and it's not communicable. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Harassment of patients is a violation of their human rights and is forbidden by law. Let us strive for an equal society, free from discrimination. I looked up at the board. It was still displaying the message from yesterday. I stood a little way from the station entrance and watched the people go by. I quickly found the group I was looking for. Are they going shopping, maybe? There was a group of Chaos Child Syndrome patients walking through the crowd. They were all old women. No, young girls. They were crossing the street, laughing and talking and wearing the same clothes that young people wore. I had no idea what their real age was.
So, like, that's just old people like me who were just like, I refuse to dress like an old person. I'm gonna dress like somebody half my age. Not really, but this is just a social commentary on old people dressing too young for...
Oh my god, Grandma, you can't wear those shorts.
Bitch, I'll wear them if I want to. No, I probably won't, but I'm just saying. I definitely don't dress my age, but I don't dress half my age either. But anyway. That's what it is. That's just what it struck me as, is like, oh my god, you're too old to be wearing that. Gross. Oh my god, you're like 26 year old. I'm not 26, and 26 isn't old. You're still babies. That's just how everybody acts, though. Oh my god, anyway.
But from the way they were talking, they might have been middle school girls. They might have been part of Hekio Academy's middle school. Oh. The people around them were ignoring them, probably because they'd seen them a million times before. But a couple of foreigners were staring at them in shock. They even took their phones out and started taking pictures. But the girls showed no signs of noticing and continued their conversation. He was right. I remember what Miyashiro had told me the other day.
We really don't notice. It's more like it doesn't even exist for us.
He was telling me about the strange symptoms of Chaos Child Syndrome.
And I mean, it's true, because the entire time we played this game, nobody looked like a shriveled troll. We all look normal, so I mean... From my perspective, all the students at Hekio look like normal middle and high school kids. I didn't just see them. Sometimes I would touch them and their skin didn't feel like an old person's at all.
But you knew what people were saying about you, right?
Not at all. We thought that Chaos Child Syndrome was a type of PTSD caused by the earthquake.
PTSD? What did that mean again? It felt like I'd heard it before.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. Basically, our memories from the earthquake would cause flashbacks and make us depressed or feel like we had to throw up. That's how Miyashiro and the others were made to understand their symptoms. But the reality was completely different. I know for a fact that I saw videos and images and heard radio stories about Chaos Child Syndrome many times, but... And I just learned recently that all the victims were Chaos Child patients, too.
The next thing I knew, the Chaos Child girls had vanished to the other side of the street.
He literally just said, and I just learned that all the victims were Chaos Child Syndrome patients, too. So, that makes it sound like all the victims, like, the people that we took the blame for killing. But it's just weird how he phrased that. I also learned that they were... Oh, I mean, I guess, okay. Because to me, I was like, shouldn't that point Serica to being like, wait, sounds like you didn't kill them if you didn't know that. But then again, we were Miyashiro the whole time, and we saw everyone as just being normal. So he wouldn't have known that the murder victims were Chaos Child Syndrome patients because he would have seen them as normal people, just like you know, we did when we were playing. So never mind. My thought process there did not pan out. I was like, oh, but never mind. No, wait, that makes sense. It's just because you're so used to, like, when you're playing the game, see them normally. So now you're, like, having to wrap your head around, wait, so everyone that we saw that was normal wasn't normal. Not all of them. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. Anyway.
They were walking around and living normal lives, just like other people.
I mean, and Ito had to have been a Chaos Child Syndrome patient, but I guess not all of them end up with, like, well, that's true. Everybody that was a victim did have superpowers. Like, were gigalomaniacs, so that makes sense. But, like, I'm still confused about Ito. Like, you know, we know that Kunasato is just a researcher wearing the uniform so she blends in and can, like, go in and out, right? But, like, what about Ito? He didn't have any powers, but he was there, so it would lead to believe that, okay, he's a Chaos Child patient, but maybe he just didn't know that he had gigalomania. Are they not going to explain this? Because this is, like, the giantest loophole, and I'm just waiting for you to explain this to me. Like, why was he at the school then? You know? Everyone else had, like, powers except for him, so it could have just been that he didn't figure them out, but, like, I want the game to explain this. I want it to be like, oh yeah, Ito just hadn't figured out that he had powers yet, or he was, like, secretly doing research too, and then was also mind controlled and didn't realize it. You know what I mean? Like, why was he at the school? Like, tell me, game, don't let me assume. Like, I mean, I'm assuming he just, you know, was a victim and then just didn't know and maybe had never figured out he had powers. Because we also, I mean, technically, until later, we didn't know, and Kurusu never admitted she had any. Sarika didn't admit she had any. Like, uh, what's her face didn't admit she had any. Like, why can I not? Kazuki didn't, you know? So it would make sense that, like, he was a Chaos Syndrome child patient, just didn't know that he had giggling powers because he never figured it out. You know what I mean? Before he was mind controlled. Or, I mean, because he was mind controlled for God knows how long. You know what I mean? So that could have stunted and have been like, okay, you know, our father was mind controlling him, so he never got to develop the powers because he was too busy being mind controlled, I guess. But I want to know that that's the fact. That's the case. Or was he actually like Kunasato and was there like researching and spying on us? You know what I mean? Like, are there plants in the school? Because, I mean, it just sounds like there's not that many. You know what I mean? There's the teachers, and then Kunasato's a weird exception, but anyway.
They were walking around and living normal lives just like other people. They could talk to people and look on the TV and internet. But anything about their real appearance, anything that would tell them that they actually had the bodies of very old people, they wouldn't see or hear. It was kind of like they were living in their own wonderful dream. That's how it felt to me. The day after I'd heard what Miyashiro had to say, I borrowed Ali's phone again and done my own research on Chaos Child Syndrome. When I looked at what I saw online in light of what he told me, I realized how many people had no idea what they were talking about. It was like they just accepted the superficial things they were told and didn't try to find the truth. They were shutting their eyes and ears to what they didn't want to hear.
I really hope the truth comes out about what you did just because of all the shit she's saying. Like, people just don't want, they're just not hearing what they don't want to hear. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to want to hear what you actually did and the truth behind you. So, yeah, it's just, I feel like you kind of have to go down that route now. You can't not do that with the way she's acting right now. Like, I mean, she's not being bitchy about it, but she's just like, wow, people sometimes just, they don't want to know the truth, man. And it's like, oh, the truth needs to come out just to, like, eat your words, Sarika. Like,
I also learned that people like that were called wrong-siders. They were on the wrong side of the information divide. And then there's Nono Kurusu. I also learned something important about Nono Kurusu, the girl who might have been my friend. It might have been the clue I needed to learn about my past. It's about time, maybe. I looked at the clock and it was almost time. I headed into the crowd in the direction the little girls had gone and started walking to my destination. I could see the inside of the academy from a distance. There was no one there, not even the guard from the other day. None of the people who thought they were students at the school were there. Detective Shinju and Kunisato's plan was working so far. I called up an image in my mind. It was the man I'd seen on Kunisato's computer. His name was... Shuichi Wakui. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes, in the fragments of my memories, I would see him in a special place. It wasn't a classroom or the club room. It was a mysterious place surrounded by machinery. He was standing there and telling me something. Before the accident, I was meeting with him in private in a secret place in this school.
So where is it?
I turned around and found Kunisato standing behind me. Well, when did she get here? Could she at least say hello?
Where in the school is it?
Where are the detective and, where is he?
And they just went inside from the rear gate. I pulled some strings and the school's empty. Once we're inside, we'll be fine. We should get going, too.
Kunisato started walking. She stood up tall like always and walked right into the school. I followed behind her, bent over and trying to be sneaky. When I told them 2 days ago about the vision I'd had, when I told them about the place where I'd been meeting Wakui, all 3 of them had gone pale. It was in that room. It was a place in Hekio Academy that wasn't a classroom or a club room, where the sun never shone.
So like a basement.
It was filled with machines I'd never seen before. The man named Wakuya was standing there and telling me something. When I told them that, Kunasato had put her hand to her forehead and yanked at her hair in frustration. She'd already thoroughly searched Hekio Academy. But I guess I didn't search it thoroughly enough, she said, frustrated. Of course, we had to go search the school again. The question was what to do with Miyashiro. I didn't think he needed to come with us, but evidently he had to go wherever the device was that I'd seen in my vision. Kunasato and Shinjo had been searching for that device this whole time, they'd said.
So, where is it?
Kunasato asked again as she walked ahead of me. I followed behind her and tried to summon the vision in my head, but I couldn't be sure. I'm not sure. I'll have to walk through the school. When I find it, I'll say so.
We don't have a lot of time. I can't have this place emptied out for too long.
I know. We walked inside the school building.
And then it's like she doesn't think it's odd. I mean, I guess she does think it's odd, but she's not really like registering it. It's like, Miyashiro's coming with us. Isn't he like a prison? He's a prisoner? This is weird. Okay, this is weird. And then like not dwell on it too much, but in the back of your mind, you're like, this is really weird.
When we got inside, the 2 of them were standing in a corner. Takuro Miyashiro was really outside. He wasn't wearing handcuffs or anything else.
See, she's like, what the fuck?
Excuse me, detective?
Yes?
I thought this yesterday too, but don't you 2 trust him a little too much? You know he's a serial killer, right? Shouldn't you be a little more careful?
I really want Shinjo to just backhand her at one point and just be like, shut up. Like, I mean, it's just, look, I mean, I get it. I get exactly why she's saying what she's saying, because if you were in her place, you'd be thinking the same shit. But knowing what we know, it's like, her comeuppance, like, someone needs to tell this bitch what she did. Because, like, it's not that I don't like Sarika, because I enjoyed her, like, throughout the thing, and then her being a psychopath, it was like, well, this is kind of brilliant, like, and I still like her character, like, she's our derpy side, like, and we were always so mean to her, like, shut up, Sarika, God, like, it was, like, the best, but I still want her to get her comeuppance, okay? I'm not like, no, she deserves, like, nah, bitch, you should be going down for your crimes. I don't care if I created you, fuck that. Miyashiro's way more noble than I'd be. I'd be like, this bitch needs to remember her shit and she needs to go down for her crimes. I'm not taking the blame for this shit. Fuck her. She chose to do this. You know? I'm sure I'd feel some guilt. You know what I mean? And I understand Miyashiro feeling guilty, but not this much. Where he's like, oh well, I'll just ruin my whole life. Like, no. But it's just the more she says it, like, oh my god, why are you doing this? This is bullshit. He's gross and I hate people like you. And the more she says shit, you're like, I really want the truth to come out. I really do. Because I want her whole world to shatter. Like, it would just, I would feel, my vindictiveness would just be vindicated, like, I guess. And I feel like it'd be kind of, like, seeing that happen, you'd be like, it's kind of brilliant. Like, like if you found out you were the serial killer the whole time playing a game. Look, that's all I wanted, right? How many games have we played that are not Otome related where I'm like, are we the serial killer? Can we be the serial killer? I'm excited about this. And it's never exactly how we turn. Right now, we are the serial killer, and I want us to remember what we did. I want her whole world to shatter and her mind to just be broken by like, ah, no, I should never have found the truth out. Yeah, no, you shouldn't have, but you did, and here we are. Woohoo! Like, it's so much better than like, oh yeah, Sarika just went on being a happy, normal girl, never remembering, and we just went down for her crimes. Like, oh, yeah. I mean, there's a beauty in that too. It's just, it's not the ending I want. It's not the one that's gonna get my blood pumping and be like, yes! Like, it's gonna be like, oh, I mean, I see why you did that. You know. And it's gonna give me all the feelings. Different feelings. But not intense feelings as it would when she gets her comeuppance. You know. Especially because everybody in this room knows. And they're all just like, you know, Shinjo's like, I want to backhand her so hard. Like, it's like, I'm so sick of this shit. I got dragged into all that, and I just want to hit her. Can I hit her? Just let me smack her. Like, he's too much of a good boy. He would never do it, but he's thinking about it anyway.
Suddenly, I felt like an idiot.
I
was just a teenage girl. Why would a detective take advice from me?
Oh, yeah. No need to worry about Miyashiro. He's fine. Forget that. Start looking.
Forget it? Wasn't it really important? I didn't really understand what was going on. All right, let's go. I looked down the hallway from the entrance as I spoke. I remembered the vision again. It was a very dark spot. It's somewhere in the building that doesn't get any light, or maybe underground. I started walking, relying on my hazy memories. I'd started by checking all the hallways. Something might ring a bell. The others followed after me, staring intently at their surroundings. I was paying close attention, too, to see if I remembered anything. Oh, right! I turned back to face Kunasato as I walked. There's something I wanted to ask about Nono Kurusu.
Is that what you should be focusing on right now?
She was glaring at me incredibly fiercely, but it was something I needed to know. I didn't back down. Kurusu was injured, right? On the chest?
Yeah, that's right.
The detective answered instead of Kunasato. I glanced at Miyashiro before I spoke again.
His eyes are like, is she gonna figure out that she did this?
I read online that it happened because she got caught up in the murders. Is that true?
There's like a sad look on his face right now. Aw. Oh, they all look sad. Even Kunasato looks sad. She's so cute when she's sad because she's such an angry, pissed off person. So her sad face is like, oh. It's just you don't expect it from her.
For some reason, all three of them fell silent. Miyashiro was the one responsible for the so-called return of the new generation madness. In the end, he hadn't killed himself like he'd said he was going to. He was said he'd chickened out, and he surrendered. There was a lot of different rumors about why he said he was going to kill himself in public. The most popular one was that he'd failed to recreate the new generation madness. The last new generation madness 6 years ago had been composed of 7 murders. But this time, there had only been 6. There was supposed to be another on November 4th, but had failed. And it was Nono Kurusu who was supposed to be the target, but
oh, that's true, she's not dead.
She was Miyashiro's stepsister. It didn't make the news, but on November 4th, Kurusu had been attacked by someone and been put in a coma. She'd been found in time to save her life, but just like I'd seen in the hospital room, she was still asleep. And of course, the one who was thought to have attacked her was... well, Miyashiro?
It's so amazing. You have to give him props. For all the bullshit in the very beginning of the thing, and you're like, my god, we're kind of a douchebag. Like, we said and did some douchey things, and we were a little bit of an asshole. But when you get down to the end after playing through the whole game, you're like, he's so good. He's such a good boy. Like, a little bit of a douche, but it's okay. Like, you know what? I'm gonna forgive your douche moments in the beginning because, like, the shit you went through through the whole game, and, like, now, you know, you earned your douche rights. You just took it before you took your douche moments before you earned them, but it's fine. It evens out. But, like, you've got Sarika here, who's like, blah, 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 oh my god, you're ridiculous, and saying all this stuff, and you're just like, yep, you just keep thinking that. And it has got to, like, how do you feel in a situation like this? Like, you're like, good, she hates me, and she thinks that what I did, all these murders and all this, and I'm a terrible, shitty piece of, like, a piece of shit. I'm a horrible piece of shit. Good. Because that's what you wanted her to be so that she can lead a normal life. But there's gotta be a part of you deep down that's like, if you say one more fucking thing to me, I swear to God, I'm gonna slap all these memories back into your fucking skull. Like, how good of a human being do you have to be Miyashiro right now, listening to all the shit that she's saying, and no, this is the person that did all the everything, and you're just like, yep, I'm a horrible person. Yep, everything is my fault. Like, I understand feeling guilt because of what Serica did, and, you know, she only exists because of you, but again, it's not your fault, and, like, it's just, it's gotta, like, there's gotta be something inside of you that just wants to go back to your normal, happy life, or maybe he's just completely given up. He's like, everybody I love is dead and gone, and, like, whatever, and, like, wasting away in a hospital room in a coma, and, like, whatever. If one of us can have a happy life and that Serica, fine, because everybody else is completely fucked in this. You know what I mean? And even if she went to jail for the murders and we could be vindicated, we're never going to get rid of that guilt and that pain and any of that weight that's on our shoulders, so we might as well just take her weight from it, I guess. But, it just takes a strong person to, in the light of this, to not be like, oh my God, it was you, bitch, Jesus! Like, to not be so angry about the whole thing that you don't just want to, like, backhand her over a railing. Like, and just, yeah, you're right, Serica. I'm an asshole. And just, I don't know, you know what I mean? To just take it. To just take it and let her be right about everything, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know, but... Whoops, hit the wrong button.
I glared at him, but he didn't answer. He just looked back at me, and for some reason, his eyes were sad.
Yeah. Because he's like, she died because of you.
I just couldn't understand what this murderer was thinking. So I started telling him what I'd learned. You were in the same orphanage, right? Did you try and kill another sister after you killed the first one?
Oh, you know what? Every time... The more she opens her mouth, the more I really want her to find out the truth. You know? Just so then frickin' Miyashiro can be like, I just wanted you to lead a happy life and not remember any of this, but now you did, and I hope you feel guilty, because now that weight is even stronger on my shoulders. It's more weight on his shoulders, because he's like, it's just one thing I don't have to worry about, is Serica's gonna go out and lead a happy life and be normal, and now she's gonna remember everything, and he's like, they just had one dream! He ruined it. Like, one more bittersweet thing on his shoulders, right? And then Serica remembers everything, and that's what she deserves right now, because she's pissing me off with her attitude. Like, again, I totally understand it. Because you'd be doing the same thing, like, you suck, you murderer! And then you find out you're the murderer, and you're like, oh, shit. But it does make me angry, because it's like, no, When we were Miyashiro, we may have been a little bit of a dick, and we may have had an attitude problem, but, like, we were a good boy deep down inside, and I'm not gonna let you do this to him, Serica. Fuck you. Like, we're gonna defend our poor, precious child, okay? No. No! He's been through enough! Don't you dare! Anyway. I keep hitting the wrong button.
And you were in the newspaper club with her. Your names were on a video that was uploaded.
Just, like, punch him harder, why don't you? God.
I wasn't sure if I should ask, but I really wanted to know. I should have realized yesterday. When Miyashiro had called Kurusu Nono her first name, Kurusu and Miyashiro were close. Which meant that since I was Kurusu's friend, he knew me too. Do you know me?
No.
There was no hesitation in his voice. It was clearer and louder than I'd ever heard before.
I wonder if he's lying, or when he, like, did the whole separation, I want you to lead a normal life, did he forget her? You know what I mean? Did he wipe her from his memories and part of the truth out of his own memory so that he wouldn't, you know what I mean? I don't see why that would have happened. I feel like he's just like, nope, don't know you. Nope, not a clue. You know what I mean? Just because otherwise she'd just fight you for answers and then you'd eventually cave and tell her the truth. And now you're like, nope, no clue. So I just wonder, like, is he faking not knowing her, or did she get kind of wiped from his memory when he did the whole voodoo thing that he did? You know, his magic shit that he did where he's like, just be a normal girl. And like, did he forget too? I'm sure he didn't, because I feel like he couldn't have forgotten everything. And he can't actually think that he's the murderer, but maybe he does. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting.
That's impossible. I have a photo of me and Kurusu together.
I don't know you. Nono and I didn't get along. I don't know who she was friends with. He's so lying.
That photo was taken in the newspaper club room. You were the club president. There's no way you wouldn't know.
I don't know you. Come on, talk about that later. Hurry.
Kunasato suddenly pushed me hard from behind. It was as if she was trying to cut me off for Miyashiro's sake.
Yeah, because he does know, and it's like, oh, she's protecting him. That's so cute. Kunasato's protecting us. Oh, not us being Sarika. We're just in her head, but we're still Miyashiro deep down in our soul. You know that.
Both Miyashiro and the detective started walking faster, too. It was like they decided in advance that this is how they would respond to that question. What's going on?
This didn't make sense. It does make sense now. So, okay, it sounds more like, yep, if she asks about anything, we're just going to pretend like we don't know her. No clue. Have no idea. Nope. So, like, if she gets her memories back on her own, but we're not going to help her get her memories back, you know what I mean? Because that's what Miyashiro wanted. He didn't want her to have those memories, so.
It felt like Momose and Kunasato were hiding something about my past.
Everybody is, FYI.
And then there was the way Detective Shinjo acted when he first saw me. And more than anything, there was the way Miyashiro had cried when he'd seen me. I could hear myself grinding my teeth.
That's true. I kind of forgot, like, he's like, nope, don't know you. My child, Sarah. Like,
I balled my hands into fists.
could you imagine, though? I mean, like, that'd be like in Miyashiro's case, okay, you took the memories away from your child, basically. They're off living their happy life. You're going to jail for their crimes, whatever. You're paying for it. You're, like, stuck in this hospital, but okay, whatevs. This is the lot you've decided for yourself, so your child can go and be happy, because she's essentially our daughter. Like, we created her, okay? And then all of a sudden she shows back up, I need my memories, and you're like, I have no clue who you are, and inside you're like, Daddy's here. Sounds kind of creepy, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, and inside he's probably, like, dying. He's like, I just want her to be, like, go off and be happy. Somebody should lead a happy life, because everybody else is fucked. And, like, even though she was a gigalomaniac, I'm assuming, like, she didn't have the wrinkly, old, leathery skin like an old lady, because she was fake. She was, like, and we wouldn't have seen her that way when we created her, because we didn't know that everybody else looked that way. We see everybody as normal. So Sarika always looked normal and could pass, and that's why she can go to other towns. I don't think she ever, because when she saw that picture, she would have recognized the wrinkly face. She would have been like, wait, what? That's me old. Like, but she never looked that way. Like, I feel like that's what they're trying to tell us. She never looked that way because she was never actually, I mean, she became a real person, but she wasn't a real person in a way, if you think about it. She's like a freaking anomaly. So, you know, anyway. I was on one tangent, and then we went off, and then I have no idea where we were, but it's fine.
This was incredibly frustrating. It really kind of is. I had so many big hints, and I knew everyone was trying to hide something, and I couldn't remember what it was.
It's interesting that they do this whole path as, like, her journey to remember. And, like, are we supposed to, like, root for her and be like, I don't want her to remember. I want her to. I want to crush her. I'm a horrible person, but again, if you crush her, it vindicates a little bit from me, takes a little bit of the weight from Miyashiro. Maybe it actually puts more on him. I don't know. But if you think about it, there's something good about that kind of torment. Like, then she's just broken because she remembers everything, and then he's like, That was supposed to be one weight off my shoulders, and now it's another one on you, and it's like everybody's just destroyed. And you're like, look, we got this far, and everyone's basically destroyed. We might as well just go for broke, okay? Like, we knocked down half the Lego city. There's a couple of little pieces. Just fucking demolish the whole damn thing. Take the whole fucking shit down. Let's not even. Let's just scrap the fucking thing. Let's just, go for broke. You know? And I also feel like she doesn't really, after everything she did, I don't feel for her and like but like maybe it's better if she doesn't remember. Like, no, you should remember. Because, like, you don't deserve to lead a happy life after everything that you did. You know? And especially her saying shit like that to Miyashiro, you're like, yeah, in your face. Like, I need that in my life. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an angry person. I know I'm an angry person, but, like, whatever. Not that way.
Huh? Miyashiro suddenly spoke in a sharp tone. We all stopped. The sign said that the annex was up ahead. This was where I'd found the newspaper club room. What?
We'll go there last once we've checked everywhere else.
What's your problem? It doesn't matter where we start, does it? And if we go to the newspaper club room, I might find some hints.
You're here to help Nono, right? And there were no suspicious rooms around the newspaper club. I'm sure of that.
Miyashiro turned around without waiting for my answer. Hey, wait! Wait! I suddenly saw a clear vision in my mind and yelled. That was...
What is it?
My legs started moving on their own. The memories became clearer along with the vision. The view of the courtyard from the window, the trees and plants. The scene in the window connected with my memories. That's right. Whenever I talked with Wakuya in that strange room, I always went through this hallway. Probably. And after going through this hallway, what did I do?
Hey, did you remember?
Be quiet, please. I can't concentrate. I started to walk, following the hazy trail in my memories. And I ended up outside the annex. This was the first floor of the annex. I stood in front of the building's wall. What was I going to do with the wall? I wasn't sure why, but I did what the memories told me to and put my hand on the wall.
What? Oh.
I could hear Miyashiro and the detective gasp. Huh? I didn't believe what I was seeing either. My hand had gone through the wall. My hand went straight into the school building as if there was nothing there.
Now we got some weird fucking Star Trek holograph technology? This game gets weirder as it goes, man. You thought the zombie trolls were gonna be like the weirdest shit that happened, and here we are.
I could see the wall, but I didn't exist. I couldn't feel anything against my hand.
And like nobody ever, could you imagine somebody's like, yeah, just goes to lean up against the wall. Ah! Just like falls into the hole that's there. So that's it.
When is this? My mind was shocked and confused, but my body remembered this feeling. I pushed forward and deeper into the wall. The next thing I knew, I was up to my shoulder without resistance. It looked like something out of a cartoon. Suddenly, I came back to my senses and leapt back. I fell backwards onto my butt. When I looked up, the wall was still in front of me. It was impossible to believe that my hand had just gone through it. What's going on? It was my own memories that had brought me here, but I was still stunned.
Just like I thought. He used delusion synchro to hide it. No wonder I couldn't find it.
Kunisada went up and put her hand against the wall. It disappeared just like mine had.
It's like magic when you actually see it up close. Can't believe it. In fact, it's just an illusion. And that's right. Can you see inside? I'll take a look. Shinjo just walks right into a wall. Oh, what the fuck? That was a trick. We just wanted to make you walk into a wall, Shinjo. I'm just kidding.
The detective poked his head in. It disappeared into the wall without any resistance.
That's gonna look weird. I need a CG of that, just like fucking no head on Shinjo poking through a wall. It's too dark to see clearly, but I think there's some stairs. They're going down. So it was right under the newspaper club? It feels like he was making fun of us.
The detective took something out of his pocket. It was a small flashlight.
If I don't come back after 5 minutes, run.
He tossed something at Kunasato, who grabbed it. It looked like a car key.
Just don't let anyone see me, Ashiro. And remember, the accelerator's on the right. Wait! Huh? Make sure you've got your gun ready. Don't waste time with warning shots. If you see him, shoot him immediately. Listen, Japan isn't like where you came from, you know.
But the detective took out his gun and put it in his other hand. It was the first time I'd ever seen one, and I felt a shiver run down my back. I was forced to realize once more that this wasn't a game.
Be careful. Yeah. Don't get hurt, Dad! You're our new dad. It makes you Sarika's grandpa, I guess. In a weird, fucked up kind of way.
The detective put his hand up against the wall without any hesitation and then went inside.
Miyashiro, you watch that side. Right.
The two of them ignored my shock as they stood back to back and watched their surroundings. They didn't seem surprised. In fact, this seemed like a normal, everyday occurrence for them. I forced myself to calm down and stand up and wipe the mud off my clothes.
Yeah, like nobody helped her. Nobody gave a flying fuck that she fell down. They were just like, huh. Anyway. It's kind of fucking funny. She's like, that's rude. I fell down. Yeah, well, they hate you. They all hate you a little bit in some kind of way.
I had goosebumps. Can you explain? What is this? Neither of them looked at me. They just kept watching. What are you trying to do?
We need the data in Wakui's lab to get a clue for how to cure Chaos Child Syndrome. I told you that, right?
I knew that. They told me 2 days ago. No, I meant... I couldn't find the words. Too much had happened and I wasn't sure what to ask. With nothing else to do, I stood guard as well.
That was a lot of, like, waiting.
It was frustrating just sitting there and waiting for time to pass. I thought it had surely been 5 minutes, but it had been less than 1. As I kept looking at the time,
Literally work every day. You're like, I feel like it's been 5 hours. It's been 2 minutes. You're safe? Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
Kunasato hung up and turned toward me.
It's clear. Let's go.
Then just as soon as the words were out of her mouth, she vanished into the wall. Oh! What was I supposed to do? I didn't know what was going on, and I was scared.
This is as far as you have to go. Hurry and get off the school grounds.
Huh? Miyashiro turned back to me and spoke.
I'll find a cure for Nono and the others, I promise. Thanks for taking us here.
Wait!
And this is it. Goodbye.
Miyashiro smiled and disappeared beyond the wall. When I heard his words, I felt a pain, like someone was squeezing my chest. Huh? What's happened to me? I couldn't run away. I just stood in front of the wall.
It's because the boy you love that you murdered for just said goodbye to you and it hurts you.
Feeling like I'd lost something important. I knew this feeling from somewhere, but I wasn't sure where. I'd forgotten something important. What was this feeling? Damn it all! I slapped my hands against my cheeks as hard as I could.
She ain't going anywhere, you know that, right?
The old me would have gone beyond the wall. I knew that much. So there was nothing to be afraid of. It was much more important that I remember. I put my hand up against the wall to make sure that there was nothing there one more time, and then plunged inside. And then I fell down the stairs and died. I went down the long, narrow staircase, holding my hand against the wall. It was dim, but not completely dark. There was a tiny bit of light leaking up from below. Each time I took a step, the memories became more clear. There was no mistaking it. I'd been here before. It wasn't deja vu. Just who was the old me? I'd been a student here at Hekio, even though I didn't have Chaos Child Syndrome. Maybe I was a scientist like Kunasato. Oh, if only, sweetie. No. And that's why I was talking to a Kui down here? No, that didn't seem right. There was no way a normal girl like me could be a scientist. A weird smile appeared on my face as I started to think about different ideas. Each time the lid almost came off my memories, I started to feel terrible, and I smiled to take my mind off it. Don't go down there. You can't go down there. I could feel someone whispering that deep within my heart, but my legs wouldn't go back. What if the old me was a totally different person? What if knowing about her changed me? It will. Even if it did, I still wanted to know about the real me. And then I finally reached the bottom of the stairs. Oh.
Without all the shit that disappeared from the hospital. Woo!
Row after row of TV monitors filled the space. I knew this sight. I'd seen it in the visions. Were the visions of this room? Miyashiro looked angry at me for not listening to his warning. But he didn't say anything.
Well, shut up, you're distracting me.
Kunasato sat down in front of the computer and began typing at an incredible speed. She seemed to be doing a detailed check of the data on it.
It's true, we have no idea where Wakui is, huh? He ain't dead in this path. Okay, we can do this. We've got the data we need. Really?
Kunasato actually smiled for once.
Let's hurry and get started. Right. Shinjo, you go upstairs and watch. If something happens, let me know immediately. Right. Make sure you get a backup of that data. Who do you think you're talking to? Actually, like I emailed it to myself and like 16 other people. I have 16 emails. I have 4 frickin' thumb drives in all my pockets. Put one in Miyashiro. You know, we got this covered.
Shinjo smiled back and ran up the stairs.
I wasn't doing that in Circus way as well. Miyashiro, get inside. Once you sit down on the device, do the injections immediately. Right. You know how to handle the injections okay now, right? Yes, you got mad at me enough times at the hospital. Because no matter how many times I taught it, you never learned.
Miyashiro ran into the next room, looking a little excited. Did you find something? Kunasato had started typing again.
Yeah, just what we thought. The device and the data we need. We may be able to use this to cure Chaos Child Syndrome.
Her voice lilted slightly. I'd never seen her so happy. Then you can cure Kurusu and the others?
Probably.
I couldn't help but sigh in relief. How are you going to cure them? What do you mean by data?
An image.
Huh? An image? You mean like a picture or something? You could cure the disease with a picture? That didn't make any sense. But from the way Kunasato was acting, it must be. What's the cause of Chaos Child Syndrome anyway? And why are Kurusu and the others the only ones in a coma? That was something I'd been wondering for a while.
I mean, it is a curious thing that, you know.
The town was filled with Chaos Child Syndrome patients wandering around. Kunasato stopped typing and hesitated for a moment. Then she looked at me and whispered,
I guess it's all right. You've seen patients besides Caruso and the others, right?
I nodded. I'd just seen some at the crossing, and I'd seen a whole class of them here at Hekio.
How did they feel to you?
What do you mean? They were probably actually middle school age. It seemed like they had no idea that anything was wrong. The ones in the classroom had looked straight at me. It was like, they were having a dream that showed them just what they wanted to see.
Huh. You got right to the heart of it.
Kunosato smiled, a teacher whose student just got a good grade, and went back to typing at the keyboard.
I think it's supposed to be like a teacher, but anyway.
She seemed to find the data she was looking for because she nodded in satisfaction.
Are you aware of Wittgenstein's opposition to Kant's left-handed, right-handed thought experiment?
From the names, maybe they were important scientists or something. I doubted any high school girl had actually heard of them.
Or people that are long beyond high school, for that matter. Take two matches, with the top and bottom reversed, spin them and overlap them, and they're still the same thing, but a one-dimensional being won't be able to tell. Take two right triangles back to back, pile them up on top of each other, and they're still the same thing, but a two-dimensional being won't be able to tell. In both cases, a person from those dimensions can't recognize what happened. They're incapable of understanding that actions and concepts of rotate and pile up even exist.
Huh? I didn't get what she was saying at all.
Each of these creatures in a different dimension has its own world that only it can understand. They're in what you described as a dream, a delusion. Scientists call the phenomenon delusion synchro. Remember what Miyashiro said? Chaos Child Syndrome patients have delusions that alter their sight, their hearing, and even their sense of touch.
So in other words, the students at this academy are all having the exact same ultra-realistic dream?
Well, it is kind of true. We did have a lot of delusions, remember? Good, bad delusions. I mean, that was the whole point of the game.
Was that really possible? Kunosato seemed to sense my disbelief. Her expression was completely serious.
More precisely, their brainwaves are causing them all to share the same delusion. And that's why we call it delusion synchro. And that's how the entrance to this basement was sealed. We were forced to share in the delusion that there was a wall here so we could neither find it nor come inside. I wonder, then, if, like, us, the Gigglomaniacs, the powers that we have weren't actually real, they were just delusions. If you're really drunk and you're like, man, there was this dude with a sword, and you're like, no, you were imagining it. Or, if you're really drunk and you saw something on a billboard, you'd be like, oh my god, I swear it was real, and it's like, or if you're like, total, whatever, it's like, no, that was a billboard. There wasn't really an alligator there. You just, you know what I mean? You kind of get delusional. If you're really fucking sick sometimes, weird shit happens in your head, you know? So I'm wondering if our powers were just delusions. You know, it wasn't real. And then if we have the, if Miyashiro is the only person who's ever been able to kind of cure himself, because Sarika's picture, I was thinking, maybe she did actually look like everyone else, but him, quote-unquote, stabbing her with his dye sword was basically that sounds really inappropriately dirty when you say wow. I was just like, wow, that sounds gross. But, wasn't taking away her powers was making her normal. Okay, now you are healed, but that picture would have she would have seen the wrinkly old person too, so, in that picture. You know what I mean? Because, the way she sees things now is the way everyone else sees things. So that picture would have shown the real her, so she just never was, a old troll. She was never a zombie troll, so, eh. But it's curious, the dye swords are kind of delusional things, but, how far delusions? We actually did have powers? Or, we deluded in thinking we had powers because we share in some kind of weird delusion. So, when it's oh, you're Gigglomaniacs, it's you're not really, you're just, you shared a delusion that makes you think you're seeing a die sword when there's not really one there. You know what I mean? The game is so confusing. So much shit happens and you're like, wow, I don't even know what's happening. But you showed us that there was no actual wall. The delusion was broken for us and the wall ceased to fulfill its function.
I see. I didn't understand still, but I decided to pretend I did.
And in the same way, someone appeared who was capable of escaping from the delusion shared by all Chaos Child Syndrome patients and destroying it.
And that person was Miyashiro?
Correct. He recovered from this syndrome, and in doing so, the cycle of delusions that was shared by all of Shibuya collapsed. Some of the patients ceased to be able to synchronize their delusions with the others. To continue the example, imagine this whole school as mimes, pretending to be trapped in an invisible box, and Miyashiro walked right through the invisible walls of the box and shattered them. Or maybe you can think of them all as people in a movie, and Miyashiro screamed, "Cut."
I remembered my hand going through the wall. It was like a bad dream, or a bad joke.
Thanks to Miyashiro, Kurusu and the others were released from their delusions, but they weren't able to handle the gap between delusion and reality and went into a coma. In fact, everyone in a coma was someone who was close to Miyashiro. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Because while we were living here doing this, we were all in the shared delusion with everybody else, blah, 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 but us learning the truth and uncovering that and doing all this shit kind of fucked everyone else up because now they can't live in their delusions either. Like, wait, what? I mean, imagine. I can imagine your brain would break if you were just thinking you're a normal high school student, then all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean I'm a zombie troll? Ah! Ah! And like, everything you knew was a lot. I mean, shit, that's enough. I mean, just think of how stressed out it feels just imagining if all of a sudden you woke up tomorrow in a totally different place, in a totally different and everything you ever knew was a lie. Like, you ever saw The Truman Show? All of a sudden you're just like, wait, what? What? Wait, there's just so much information that you can process before you just snap, and that's literally what we just did. We made all of our friends go to college. They couldn't handle the processing of this much information. I mean, I can't. I'm just playing this game and I'm like, shit, wow. So.
I remembered the people in the hospital room. There was Kurusu, and then Arimura, Kazuki, and Yamazoe, right?
Of course, the coma itself is dangerous, but it's evidence that their brain is trapped between reality and delusion and fighting to escape the syndrome. It's a necessary process. So I wonder if when we were in their paths, their routes, were those delusions in their heads, you think? Like, I guess you could think of it that way. Like, all of a sudden, we're in the hospital. We ended the regular ending, the common route ending, and then each one of their paths is like, we started to break the delusion, and like, then all of a sudden, like, Arimura's delusion is the delusion, and her route was the delusion in her head. Which is sad. That poor girl couldn't even have a happy delusion. She had a sad one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, So we want to strip that same delusion from the others as well.
Kurosato grinned wickedly.
If we do, someday they'll come back to reality, just like Miyashiro did. Miyashiro, did you inject the meds I gave you? Yes.
Kurosato started talking into some kind of microphone, and I could hear Miyashiro's voice from the speaker next to it.
I'm going to start taking your brainwave data. Got it? Yeah, thank you.
He sounded kind of out of it. What was he doing in the next room?
He took drugs.
How did Miyashiro recover from the syndrome?
I'm not sure. If you want to know, ask him. Oh, I guess that's the perfect topic for discussion. Can you go to his side and talk to him? I gave him a tranquilizer to make it easier to get the data, but I can't have him falling asleep. If Shinja was here, I'd ask him, but now you're all I've got. The drug will run out soon. It won't take long.
Kurosato saw my hesitation and motioned for me to get going. I had no choice but to head to the next room.
Sorry.
speak, but I didn't answer. I could tell that she wasn't talking to me.
And we're going to end it here. And we'll deal with the conversation between Serica and Miyashiro in the next part. So, whew, this is so interesting, and it's so, like, I don't know, it's so bizarre, because you're like, okay, we played this game, we got all this, what could we possibly learn? Oh my god, wow, we are zombie troll, this is, woo! Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more!